Hello grade 7s, hope you guys are all well, staying safe and sane during the lockdown. I must admit I miss you guys a little, even though I used to complain about the noise levels, now it's a little bit too quiet. So in today's lesson we'll be going over properties of materials. You can find this in page 66 of the textbook. I did send out this work in the last 3 weeks of last term when we were all sent home, but today I'd like to go through it a bit more in depth. You guys might have experience with this, having been in the world for 13 years and having interacted with the materials around you, but today I want to go through things formally. Also, there's a practical component to this section, and it needs to go together with the theory so that there's a better understanding. So let's list the physical properties of materials. 1. Strength. 2. Flexibility. 3. Boiling points and melting points. 4. Electrical conductivity. 5. Heat conductivity. 6. Magnetism. 7. Flammability. So the last two items, 6 and 7, magnetism and flammability, are not in the textbook, but I decided to include them because I think they're quite relevant. So, starting with the first property, strength. We have two different kinds of strength. Compressive strength and tensile strength. Compressive strength is an object's ability to resist being crushed. Tensile strength is an object's ability to resist being stretched. So this box resists being crushed and is an example of compressive strength. This copper wire, even though it's easily bent, can resist being stretched and is an example of tensile strength. This can was easily crushed and is an example of an object having little compressive strength. This rubber band is easily stretched and is an example of an object having little tensile strength. The next property is flexibility. Some objects are flexible and some are inflexible. This copper wire is easily bent and is an example of an object with good flexibility. This pen resists being bent and is inflexible or rigid. Next, we're going to talk about boiling point and melting point. The boiling point of an object is when it turns from a liquid to a gas. The melting point of an object is when it turns from a solid to a liquid. So the simplest example we can use here relates to water, how water can change to ice, become a solid, or how the water can evaporate and become steam, a gas. So 0 degrees Celsius is where water changes from a liquid and becomes a solid ice. So 0 degrees Celsius is our melting point. Water turning from a liquid to a gas occurs at 100 degrees Celsius. So 100 degrees Celsius is our boiling point. So all materials have melting and boiling points, it's just that some may be higher or lower. So for example, if we think of a rock, at 0 degrees Celsius, the rock is a solid. If we increase the temperature, it stays as a solid until we get to very, very high temperatures, like 2500 degrees. When the rock changes from a solid to a liquid and becomes lava. Next, we're going to talk about electrical conductivity. This relates to an object's ability or inability to allow electricity to pass through. This copper wire is a good example of an electrical conductor. It allows electricity to pass through very easily. This pen resists electricity passing through and is an example of an insulator or non-conductor. In real life, we usually have a mix of conductors and non-conductors. So this wire allows electricity to pass through quite easily, but it's surrounded by an insulator. So this is to prevent being shocked. Next, we'll talk about heat conductivity. Heat conductivity is similar to electrical conductivity. It relates to an object's ability to allow heat to pass through or to resist heat being passed through. So metals are good examples of electrical conductors. So for example, if you heat a pot, the heat spreads all over the base. Examples of objects which are not good heat conductors are things like clothes. So the clothes trap the heat, stop the heat from leaving, and they keep me warm. So next, the new section 6, magnetism. Some objects are magnetic and some are not. You get two different kinds of magnets: temporary magnets and permanent magnets. So this is an example of a permanent magnet. A temporary magnet needs a power source. This is a simple coil of copper wire, and when we connect it to the battery, it becomes magnetic. So you can't see it too clearly here, but I've made another video showing a little electric motor where you can see the magnets interacting, attracting and repelling, and causing the motor to spin. Next, we'll talk about flammability. Flammability relates to an object's ability to catch fire. Most of the substances which are flammable contain carbon. So this lighter contains a fuel called benzene, which is a type of hydrocarbon. Other examples of hydrocarbons are petrol and diesel. Certain objects do not easily catch a light. So for example, glass. So that concludes today's video. I hope you guys got something out of it and understood it a little bit better. I'll be sending some work maybe on the section, a few questions which I'll make up, and please try and do them, and if you don't understand, message me. Thanks.